All right, let's rock and roll. Okay. All right. Well, thank you for showing up. Really excited to be here. This is my third Domopalooza. The first two were online. The last one, or this one, luckily was finally in person. So I've been dying to finally get to Utah. So, there we go. Okay. All right. So, gonna cover some cool stuff. So here's kind of the high level agenda of me, kind of what the company does, what problems we're trying to solve, and then how it all ended up, and kind of show you live exactly how all of this works to just prove that there's no smoke and mirrors involved here. All right, so my name is Bruce Harris, Director of Financial Applications at Torchy's Tacos. I've been there about 4 years. So I've worked with Domo since 2017. I saw it at a NetSuite conference. It's the Magic ETL that first caught my eye. So I got to meet Dennis Rodman and Bill Walton, which is a completely different experience. But that's where I saw it. I'm like, if that does what we need, that's going to solve so many problems, because it was the classic situation of IT on the data, IT on the code, IT on the transformations. It would take 3 or 4 weeks to get anything done. It's like I need something that empowers the users, and this is what that presentation today is. About empowering end users to do very powerful things with data that generally they couldn't do, and most other applications won't let you do. So, Torchy's Taco story. So, started in 2006 with basically a Vespa and Mike, just hauling all over Austin, delivering queso and tacos on his Vespa. It was just in a food truck, working out of a food truck downtown, and he's got great stories. Like, I was looking at the Vespa, going, "Wow, those scratch marks on it." He goes, "One time, somebody ran me off the road, had to ditch into a parking lot." So, crazy times. I tried to get him back on the Vespa, but he wouldn't get back on the Vespa. That'd be fun, doing some wheelies in the parking lot. So yeah, now 128 stores in 17 states. Rapid growth, hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue, all from that first taco. And he said, when that first guy walked up to his food truck, he goes, "Well, that's a good taco." He goes, "It cost a lot. That's a good taco, but it really cost a lot," because he kind of broke the barrier. Back then, the taquerias, it was the classic 99 cents per taco. And back then, it's probably $3 or $4 for a taco, which was very uncommon back then. So kind of breaking the barrier on that. And then, so kind of a cool thing too. So was reading this. So he just came out with his biography, the Mike Ripka story. Got some pretty crazy stories in there, especially it starts off really hot with some crazy stuff, and was actually reading the book, and in the last part of the book, he actually gives Domo a shout out, which I thought was really, really cool. So that's how much he likes Domo. He put it in his biography. So that made me feel really good, because like I said, when I got there, same story. When I first saw Domo, it was IT on the data. We had Power BI. Nobody could get anything they needed. People didn't trust each other. So it was just kind of a bit of a hot mess. I was actually brought in to kind of work on their NetSuite implementation, which kind of went sideways. But while I was there, they're like, "But while you're here, we got this data issue. So do you have any ideas?" I'm like, "I think I do." So once again, having brought it into 3 companies and then worked with it at 4, really my favorite application. So let's so we'll set the context here of kind of what happened, why we did what we did. And then kind of how it all ended up, and said, once again, very fast-growing creative company. I'll put it this way: they come up with very creative names for some of our menu items, which can lead to uncomfortable situations. I was in Waco recently, and so we're stopping there to get some food on the way. And Waco, a little more conservative town in Texas, if you're familiar with it. So I was putting my order in and said, I'd like 2 full orders of chips and queso. I'd like a threesome. And then it got incredibly quiet. And the lady behind the counter, I was looking at her. She was staring at the point of sale system, very flustered. And just looks at me and goes, "What'd you just say?" I was like, "Oh, I wanted the threesome. You see, it's right under there under chips and dips." So she's like, oh, I'm sorry. I just started 3 days ago. Did not know the menu item name, so I am so sorry. So, correct. So, yeah, it can lead to interesting situations, but very fun place to work. So, the context was so it's selecting new stores. So the old method of selecting stores and store selection is so very critical, especially Texas is our core market. People know us there. People in other states really don't know us that well. So very important picking a store location. So the old classic was it wasn't data driven. It was I know a guy, I can get a deal. It's kind of like Pawn Stars. I know a guy. I'm like, well, great. I got a gut feeling, and well, that gut feeling may be indigestion. So it was the opposite of being data driven. It was kind of very old classic real estate driven. Well, it kind of worked for some of the Texas stores, but as we went outside of the Texas market, people didn't know us well. The deals we got on some of these stores, we found out why, because you got to go there, take a left, take a right, and see the men's warehouse. Well, it's behind the men's warehouse, which you can't even see from the street. So kind of explaining, it's like, we got to get better. And I mean, if you ask me, everything should be data driven. It's like, to me, it's like, if you don't show me the data, I don't believe it. So I got to show me everything. So there's a few companies that sell demographic data. Placer.AI is one of them, and that's who we're working with here. But since, as we know, shouldn't shock anybody, a lot of these data companies like to keep their data proprietary. They're like, well, it's our secret sauce, it's our proprietary data. We want you to log in and look at our reports, and we'll kind of show you the data in our view. It's like, well, that's great, but I don't know what algorithms you're putting behind this data. I don't know why you're showing me that these are good locations. I want to take your data and I want to combine it with all my data, because I have all our sales data. Because in addition to all our NetSuite data, I'm pulling every single taco we sold, every single menu item, line item that we sold from our point of sale system, every single clock in, clock out from an employee. All of that is in data at the lowest, Domo at the lowest level. So it's like I have all that data in Domo, so I can run it through Domo and I can tell you which stores are most successful. So I need to combine your demographic data with our store sales data and our most successful stores, and I want to see what the relationships are, like what is driving successful sales. That's why I don't want to live in your world. Plus, you have all these crazy definitions I'll show you later of all these different groups of how they classify people, like stoned hippies and really senile baby boomers and young kids with too much money to spend. It's all these crazy categories I don't even understand, but that's their definitions, because once again, they want you living in their world. So they did say, well, we got some APIs, but it's a bunch of parameters, it's multiple APIs, and then you're going to have to get JSON and parse it and all that other stuff, and things like that. So you could do it, but it's going to be really complex, and you're going to need a technical team. I'm like, well, I don't want a technical team. I got Domo, and I don't need a technical team for that. So I want to come up with the Domo solution, so I don't need a technical team for this. So that's kind of where it all started. From this can get better, and I want it to get better, and I want to empower the end users, because once the end users are powered, I'm looking at the stuff, they're running this stuff every day. They can't, throw this over the fence to a team and wait 2 weeks to get something. So the need for change said fast casual's getting ever more competitive with COVID, with COGS going up, with the uncertainty these days, egg prices. I mean, there's so many different variables now. You can't just show up and start selling something and people start buying your tacos. Having to use the analytics, providers to say, hey, here's where we think you should go. Well, we proved out that wasn't working. I don't know what your algorithms were. I want to be able to create my own visualizations, not just the ones you have. And we're so reliant on that. We don't even know. And the store selection really hasn't been that good. And I want my end users to be able to pick stores based on our criteria. So what we set out to do, so we gave us their APIs, and APIs have parameters, and then they have result sets, and the result is different data formats, in this case JSON. So we look at the APIs and go, what do you got? What data do you have? What inputs do you need to get that data? And then what we set out to do is okay, the challenge is I want my end user, my reporting analyst who's never written a lot of code, to be able to go into Domo and within a minute be able to kick off that API, multi-parameter APIs, run multiple APIs at once, and have all that data brought back to Domo, parsed out, run through multiple ETLs, and then served up to them so they can now start analyzing what stores are best, and have all that done, in less than 30 minutes. So pretty aggressive challenge, pretty creative. But, it's like, let's see if we can do it. I think we can. So certain components to this vision, we have the Jupyter Notebook. So that's where the API code is. We Domo forms. So we needed that end user input so they could just go into a simple form, nothing technical. We did work with the Domo consultants. So I don't really have any Jupyter. I've written lots of SQL, don't have any Jupyter experience. So working with the Domo consultants, so they had some great ideas of how to make this more efficient. Multiple, they know all the tricks in Domo of all the different ways we can do this. We have that demographic data, and then ultimately the Magic ETL, which is that last step to serve that up for the end user. And once again, everything just be fully automated. I want to go somewhere, hit a save button, and everything triggers automatically. So what we have is, so Placer they break their world down into about 25,000 different entities or locations. That's what they call that. So they have all their list of entities and locations. Those have IDs. So we need to be able to select, what entities are we going to run this for. Are we looking in Chicago? Are we looking in, Baltimore? Where are we looking to potentially put a store? And we're able to, once again, be able to quickly identify all the sites, weed out the sites as quickly as possible, and then narrow that down. So we took their list of entities with their IDs, and then we just created a Domo data set. And the end users then just download that data set into Excel, and whatever they want to run it for, they just flag the entities as Y. So, and then they save that and just email it into Domo using that great Domo email connector. So once again, nothing technical on their side. You just download it, flip it, flag it to a Y, email it back in. It automatically updates the Domo data set to run that data. So then the Domo forms. So we needed a way to input the API parameters, because all these APIs, some have 10, 15 parameters. Obviously, the parameters have multiple different values, but the end users needs to be able to target, what dates, how big an area you want to see, what kind of data sets. There are different kind of demographic data sets. All those parameters that, once again, usually very technically controlled that the end user can enter. So we created a Domo form in Domo on their page, and with that, we put all the parameters in. And so the parameters at the top, I would have liked a pick list, but we didn't have the pick list yet. So product enhancement, unless it's already there and I don't know about it. Domo forms with pick lists, so the end user could just pick the value. But they had to key it in. Once again, you saw at the top, I put in all the values, so it's very easy. So hey, just include metadata as true or false, all lowercase. So just enter those values as you like, hit save, and then that is the so working with the Domo consultants, they said, hey, we could trigger that API call from Jupyter based on just saving that form. So it's like it'll be a trigger-based event. So that's great because once they enter their data and they save it, then they're ready. It's like, okay, now I want to see it. So if that API call could be triggered based on somebody saving that form, that's fantastic. And so that's what they built for us. There may be other ways of doing it, possibly workflow, but I'm not sure. But the triggering method works wonderfully well and gets that instant API call. So, and then the Jupyter Notebook. So that is what is triggered. So you can see we have multiple APIs down that left side. So like for the demographics API, there's something called, what is it called? We got the standard demographic data, and then we have the mosaic data. So those are two different set of parameters for the same API, but they want to be able to get them at the same time. So as you can see, the parameters, they're stored here in that Jupyter Notebook. You can see what parameters they entered. It's queried from that form. But then when they save that, it kicks off multiple APIs with all those parameters, and just one parameter is different. So it calls mosaic versus their other type of demographic data. So that's that Jupyter Notebook that calls the data, calls the API. Okay. Did I lose connection? Oh, there's a laser on the clicker. Thank you. Oh, does the laser need to be pointed at something? Oh, thank you. Okay, there we go. Sorry. Oh, was that the next slide? Yes, it was. Okay, perfect. Thank you. So the Domo consultants, it was multiple consultants working on a T&M basis. So once again, they brought all their Domo best practices. They had all the tricks, all the Domo tricks, such as the triggering, how to pass those parameters and things like that at a very, very, very quick delivery time. And when I say these guys knocked this out just in like 2 or 3 weeks, much more cost effective, much faster, much more efficient. So gave us a great tailored solution. Very, very cost effective, very, very fast. So the demographic data, so there we have multiple data sets, multiple time frames, multiple output data sets, census, pop stats, mosaic, store locations. We're also getting the demographics from our store locations so we can enhance our store demographics too. So not only for prospecting for new stores to see what the data potentially looks like, we're also running this for all our existing stores and keeping it updated so we can see how the demographics are changing, how the traffic is changing, how the number of people coming into the area are changing over time to once again help us analyze our data too, as sales are very dynamic, changing very rapidly. So it helps us give insight to our own stores, plus once again those stores that we're looking at. And then also we had the reporting team had all these decile definitions of for this particular parameter, for this output, here are the different deciles. If traffic is in 0 to 5,000 people, that's decile, the top 10%. If it's certain things like that. So that was the other challenge is we have all these decile definitions that did not live on the Placer.AI data, but that's how we defined our deciles of what's because we want to look at top 10 locations. So then we took all that decile definitions and joined that with all of the API data. So then we're able to get all our own detailed decile definitions, which Placer didn't have, join that with all the Placer demographics. And now it was very tailored for exactly what we wanted to see. So now they can go and then quickly filter a report, go, okay, so if I'm looking at Chicago, I just want to see the top 10 locations or locations in the top 10%. I don't want to see anything below that. So now they're very quickly able to go in and go, Chicago, give me top 10. There we go. There's my list. Okay, let's start looking. Let's look at a map. And then eventually, people will fly up there and take a look physically to see what their location looks like. So there is, using the wonderful Magic ETL. That one, actually, I cleaned that up nicely. So that Magic ETL, once again, allows us to very easily, and no code, as you guys know very well, join all that data together. Joining from the multiple API runs, all the decile definitions, parsing the data out into all the different formats to get that output that the end users need.
That's a good looking ETL, brother.
Oh, correct. Yes, I did. And I'm sure nobody has this problem. So I do have some that if somebody looked at, be like your mom seeing your room when it's not clean, go like, you need to clean that out. And what I really like about Domo too is years ago when I started using it too, your canvas was a lot smaller. So, and I appreciate Domo once again for one of their enhancements, increasing that canvas, because I do have our main point of sale ETL I developed when the canvas was a lot smaller. And yeah, just be like your mom. If my mom saw that, she'd be like, "That you need to clean that up, and you're not getting dinner till you clean that up, because it is it's a spaghetti pattern, and spaghetti's not good when it comes to code, from what I hear." So, but yeah, so I clean that up. That is correct. So that is on my list of things to do, because somebody will see that and go like, "I think I'm seeing things." So, and there's our final output. So now, once again, the reporting team can go in. They can put in the parameters, run the APIs for whatever city they're looking at. get all that output, map it out in Domo. So we're using some of the Domo advanced mapping capabilities too, some of the advanced mapping functionality. And so they're now able to quickly serve up for board meetings, for real estate meetings, things like that. And the great thing is now even, and this was impossible before, even on the fly. So if somebody, in a real estate meeting says, well, that's great, we're looking at Chicago, but let's look at whatever city right by Chicago is. I'm drawing a blank here. Let's look at that real quickly. Can we do that? And yes, so they just take that entity list, quickly flag those cities, upload it, hit it, change the parameters and run. And within 5 minutes, they can have, okay, well, here's all your new data that you just asked for in a city. So that dynamic component right there is just amazing where, they'd have to wait. They'd go, wait, we'll take notes, we'll come back. Next week at our meeting, we'll kind of show you this stuff, and now you can actually get that stuff on the fly. So that is really, really cool. So that it outlines and kind of get an outline of the retail area, what they call it. And then based on that, based on the demographics, then they'll go up and take a look in person, see if it looks good, see if the traffic looks good, everything like that. So that is what we did. So once again, very powerful. Everything is in the end user's hands to run that data. What we have in the future is, I know what a lot of people have in the future. So using that machine learning, which I'll show you, have actually run some things through using the machine learning to further analyze what's driving sales, what are the most important components are. And then obviously the AI for some more instant analysis. So instead of, building reports and charts and things like that for each particular data set, once again, using that AI to say, hey, I can dynamically throw real queries against the data in real time to get all that output. So pretty cool stuff. So our key takeaways, and probably for this audience, not really that shocking. So automation's your friend, using those Domo forms, anything that can be end user driven, the end user can control. The happier the end users are, and the faster you can get the data. Those triggered APIs and ETLs, once again, triggering is wonderful because you just start something, it's like a whole chain of dominoes. They all start falling down and doing their thing. Giving that data quickly, that time to value, like I said, that real time, being able to say, hey, what about this city? Pop it in, and just a few minutes later, get the output. Really fantastic. User control processes. Obviously a big fan of that. Said I've lived way too many times. The IT versus the non-IT battle. The IT controlling the data, other groups trying to control the data. People thinking the data is proprietary. It's not. It belongs to everybody in the company. So using Domo for all those user control processes makes those users happy, puts all the power in their hands. And everybody could just, once again, just start working on solutions instead of sitting around arguing about data, arguing about who owns it, arguing about when am I going to be able to see that data. So it is wonderful. And then bringing that data all in-house. Like I said, Domo is our data warehouse. We have every single NetSuite transaction line, every single taco we sold, every single clock in, clock out, every single customer comment. So all that enriched data, and now bringing all the demographic data against it. So now we can see it's like, okay, here's what we did, here's the demographics around it, and now being able to see the demographics around how we are truly operating and acting at Torchy's, and seeing like what's really driving sales, what's not driving sales, what do we need to work on, what places should we avoid, has been just revolutionary for the data team, for the restaurant team, the restaurant site team, and exactly now we've moved to an entirely data-driven process, gotten away from the old school real estate method, fully user controlled by people who've never written a line of code, and we get that fast delivery out there. So executives and anybody else can see exactly, what the demographics are, what a new site's going to look like, what the most, promising new sites are in a new city that we want to go to. As site selection has gotten so important, and as we move so far away from our core set of operations, which is Texas, it's so important picking the right location, letting people know about the Torchies, so we can deliver the wonderful message of queso and tacos to the whole world, and have them really enjoying Torchy's tacos, because I know a lot of places you go, especially sometimes further north, Taco Bell or some other places, or some of the main taco places. So hopefully we can turn on a whole new generation of people outside the state of Texas to queso and tacos. So that is it. It was funny too. I was on a bus going to the airport and told some guy who worked at Torchy's, and he was actually a chemistry major. He was convinced we used voodoo to make the queso. He goes, "Are you guys using voodoo to make the queso?" I goes, "I'm a chemistry major, and that stuff is so good that just had to ask if you use voodoo." It's like, I don't think it is, and then I'll have to admit, one time when my daughter was young, she liked queso so much she did drink it. So that's a thing too, and I could probably do the same thing, but probably my favorite food. So that is it. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Questions, if anybody has them, and I have 6 or 7 Torchy's burn cards or free taco cards. If you live near a Torchy's and want to grab one of those, and if we run out, drop me your business address. I can probably send some more of those. Marketing may be a little annoyed, but don't care. And there we go.
Just wanted a quick clarification. All the technical API ingesting and stuff was with Domo helping you do that. You didn't do any of the actual ingestion of the APIs and that kind of stuff yourself?
Oh, ingestion meaning
the connections and what parameters to send and what you were getting back and understanding the API at kind of the technical level.
So we looked at all the parameters. We understood the APIs. We understood all the data it would return. Correct. The one thing that we could not do was write the Python code in the Jupyter Notebook.
Okay.
So it was that plus all the tricks of because I asked, it's like, can I trigger this? Can I do this? What are my options if somebody goes into a form? What are my options of running this without somebody having to go into a Jupyter Notebook, because I don't want them going there. And so they had all that knowledge too. So.
All right, thank you.
Then if you want to go live real quick to my computer, I can kind of show you a real live. So once again, just make sure there's no smoke and mirrors here.
We want you to prove that ETL is real, not Photoshop.
Correct. That's what I was trying to do. So, yes.
I have a question while you're working through your text.
Sure. Uh-huh.
So you take in user input via, like, I love this CSV email download.
Yes.
And you also take in user inputs for your API, right, when they sync now.
That is correct.
Was Domo able to, or how did you guys handle validation, right? Because a lot of us go with people who will put an extra column or delete a column or add a row or maybe add in an extra character to your API parameter that would cause us to fail. How do you handle those?
Yeah, so that big stick they were talking about earlier? No, just kidding. So that, I have just told them, it's like, hey, these are like the entities, like all you need to do is put a wire in. That's it. So don't change anything. And then the other part is on that form, it's like, here are the values. I wish I could give you a pick list and said, hopefully a product enhancement. But just know that if you do something, if you do that, and it has happened. I've gotten calls like, hey, the API failed. It's like, oh, you capitalized T in true. So, things like that. Exactly. Luckily, our users have run them so much. I mean, I'm looking at there. Sometimes they're running them 5 or 6 times a day, and it's a limited audience too. It's only a couple of people that use it. So luckily, they learn pretty quick. But they still do occasionally make the error. Hey, I got an API error, and I'll go look and like, just parameters off. But rare.
If you take the entry point on Domo forms and convert it and change it from user input to data set input, you can change it so that it is a drop down for what's selectable and remove the entry error.
Oh, got it. Okay.
It is in there.
There you go. Thank you very much. Okay, that's something we'll have to look at. So exactly, there's that form. Said they just edit that form if I want to change the year. Right there, that's it, and just hit save, and that's it for the form. There's our Jupyter Notebook. You see, you have several APIs down the side. That's what's triggered, and you can see they really nice how they did this. They're selecting from that table of the entities where it says why. You can see all the parameters somebody input, and then so I don't read Jupyter really well, but there is the whole API right there, automatically triggered. And then that machine learning I was talking about. So now we have all of the data. We have all of these demographics. The way they're slicing and dicing the population, which once again is fascinating, almost like Silence of the Lambs, where they're slicing and dicing populations up. But Hannibal Lecter, that was it. But so there it is. So then we ran it through, and so now we have our stores. We have 125 stores. Now I have all this demographic population. Let's run it through that wonderful no-code machine learning. I go, I want to see what's correlated with sales. Like, what is driving sales? So it is that top one is average income, and then thriving boomers are next. So once again, this is just literally a playbook and say, hey, when we find a new site, take probably the top maybe 6 or 7, and if those are really good, very, very promising. So now data driven. So once again, you could just see once you get your return, you can quickly filter just a couple minutes ago. These sites are very promising. All this other stuff, really don't have to worry about. Doesn't drive it that much. But yeah, here you can see like there's a group called Thrifty Habits. So but how they break down their demographics, you now know it's like find locations that fit these 5, 6, 7 criteria. And success is, once again, not guaranteed, but it's a heck of a lot better than some guy going, I got a deal and I got a gut feeling this is going to be it. So, because that did not work. So.
Oh, thanks. Huge Torchy's fan, by the way.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, this is great. So what's next?
Oh, so what's next? So Jackie right there. So Jackie, say hi to everyone. So we're doing some amazing automation on the financial side. We've taken processes that took 5 hours and now down to like 5 minutes. So that's one of the big things. A huge AI push to the stores, because the stores, now that we have all that data in there, they have a lot of turnover. They don't know some of the different, like one of the operators said, well, triple net's very important, but these guys don't know what triple net is. I got turnover and I have to explain it every time. So I just want them to be able to go, okay, go into Domo and go, what is my triple net? But then, actually one of the things, I'm like, wait a minute. So if you can give us the definition of triple net, and then we have all our detailed sales data and NetSuite data, we can combine that together. So end user can go, not know what triple net is, say, I want to see the triple net for my store for last month. So then it will not only give them the triple net and they have no idea what it is, it will then give them the definition of this is what triple net is and why it's important. So use it as not only to run their stores better, find information faster, but actually for people to learn. So that's kind of the really cool stuff. We're excited about AI along with all this financial stuff. So many cool things. I just don't have enough time in the day. So.
So you mentioned you have a handful of users for this, and then sometimes you also run it a handful of times a day. Mm-hmm. Do you have any way to account for what if they're trying to run it at the same time?
If it runs, let's see, if they try and kick it off at the same time, I don't. That's a good question. I don't know if it's ever happened, but if they did try to run at the same time, I'd probably get a call, go, hey, it didn't run. I'm like, oh, because it was already running. So
you said NetSuite. Are you using that for your ERP?
That is correct. Mm-hmm.
So I'm new to Domo. We have it, but we haven't really used it. I'm trying to figure out how we can use it. So with NetSuite, is there a direct connection where you don't have to use Workbench?
So to get data into Domo or push data back?
To get in.
Oh, to get in. So I just use the NetSuite connector.
Okay.
It is a little slow. So once again, anybody in the product team, ours does run a little slow. I've had to split it up into 3 because I'm pulling every single line in. But yeah, I'm just using the normal NetSuite connector.
And I guess this might be a question for Domo people, but was there already a connection with NetSuite? We use Sage X3. So I don't think there's a connection, so I have to use Workbench to get a lot of the data. Oh,
there definitely is a connector. If you go into connectors, it says NetSuite, and there's 2. And the one says like NetSuite has like app at the bottom. And I can show you after this if need be. Yeah, there's a NetSuite connector. Okay. Just go into connectors and hit NetSuite. But yeah, no, if you want ideas of how to just turbocharge your NetSuite and just.
We don't use NetSuite, so.
Oh, sorry, I thought you said you were using NetSuite.
We use Sage X3, so that was my question.
Okay.
Was NetSuite already a connection, or did you ask for it?
Yeah, sorry, it actually was already a connection. But great ideas of how I don't know if Sage allows for like uploading CSVs to create journals or invoices. If it does, we're having Domo generate journal entries, payments, payment matching, all that kind of stuff, because it can generate the right file format. You just download and upload into your accounting system. So if you got questions, she's been leading a lot of this stuff. It's really amazing what you can do with it. So.
This data source, is that like downloadable like for anyone, or is it your proprietary?
Oh, so the Placer AI data sources?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we are actually having to pay a fee to Placer. They're not making that data free because it is their proprietary demographics of stuff they've created. So I don't know how much it costs, but yeah, those aren't free because they're very specific to restaurants.
Okay, and any of these case studies is downloadable, or is it like you just giving us a demo?
Kind of like what we're doing.
Visualizations or stuff like that.
No, I mean, I just have this presentation. Once again, I can send you the presentation, or you can contact me and I can kind of walk you through. But no, like official case study.
Okay.
Kind of just this presentation.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, always glad to help though.
I think we have 1 minute left. If anyone has the last question.
For your for the API to connect to the POS, do you just have one POS system, or do you have multiple instances? Like, do you use Toast and Olo and like a whole bunch of different ones, or is it just one instance?
No, so we have just one POS. It's Oracle Symphony.
Okay.
We just converted off something else, so it cracked. Oracle Symphony's taken all the sales and plus all the clock-ins. But we do have a little bit of universe. Our loyalty data is actually coming from the loyalty provider. So I do have to kind of stitch it together a little, but 98% of it's coming, POS is coming from our Oracle Symphony.
Gotcha. And then the follow-up to that is it makes it a lot easier if it's just on one instance. But
Yeah, correct.
whenever you're introducing, you can call it users to run any sort of ETL, do you run into any issues on the back end if a specific, taco order, they had to change something on the back end, like amend a variable, and then if somebody runs it, it updates it with, overwrites the overwrite, I guess, if that makes sense. Any back end duplication or issues on that?
Yeah, so luckily the POS prevents people from making multiple changes. But what I have done though is because certain situations things can change. So what I do is I grab data from the prior day, and that I can update it. It's a replace. So I can update that as many times as possible, and then I have another API that grabs all the data. It has to loop through, so we have about 125 stores. API has to loop through store by store. But once data's 2 days old, then it's frozen. So I have my API of prior day, and that I can run that 25 times, and it just overwrites. But then I have my API that's current day minus 2, and that's frozen. So I run that, and that's an append. So that's how I kind of handle I'll give you 24 hours to change stuff, but once 24 hours is done, you can't change anything, and that's my day minus 2, that's frozen solid append. So, but then also dedupe just in case somebody messes something up. You never know.
Thank you.
If somebody can break it, they will. I didn't say that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much. Appreciate it. Great questions.